All right. For segment 1 today, Heathen Dog is going to talk to us about minions. I'm sorry, Nightlord minions and Nightbane factions, right? Did I get that in the right order?
You did, and
right.
Wrong order. We're gonna do factions first and minions second.
Oh,
the Nightbane factions.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the Nightbane factions are dirty little guilds that you as a Nightbane can be part of. It's not just role playing. It also affects what skills you have, because certain factions teach their members certain skills. And then we're going to talk about the Nightlord minions. These are the creatures that are actively hunting you and you are actively killing to try and stop the machinations of the evil Nightlords in taking over the world. So let's go ahead.
Do you think this is worthy of one video, or do you think you're going to have it long enough for 2?
This is one video. I streamline this bitch.
All right. So if you refer to the description below, you can find links to various Legion of Myth sites, our social media, Discord, merch, etc. Please check those out. Join us and enjoy the swag. That's right. I used the word swag.
Good.
Join us on Thursdays and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of amazing lackeys, heroes, adventurers, boomers play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. On Fridays and Sundays, stop by Legion of Myth YouTube channel where we live stream fundamentals and overviews of tabletop role-playing games and provide opinions and commentary. Hey, that's what we're doing right now on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this video. Both help the channel immensely. I know you guys don't like it when YouTubers say that all the time, but you know what? You don't understand how much it really does. A simple like really helps out the channel. If you're not done so, please subscribe to Legion of Myth. And finally, we believe that role-playing games should take place in fantastic worlds and that the focus of your tabletop group should be on role-playing and having a good time. The core values of #RPGate are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. And this is segment 1. I'm going to interrupt Heathen Dog because I like to make his life hell, and it's not going to be a lecture. So we're going to tangent. We're going to talk about cats and space opera. And no, we're not. All right.
No, we're not doing that.
Let's start that off the screen. Share.
There you go.
Share. Let me slide this over here.
Like and subscribe for no cats.
Like and subscribe for no cats. There you go. Close.
All right. So while he opens up the PDF and goes to page 16. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Nightbane factions. Each faction has a core purpose. Some of it is just helping Nightbane who've just come into their powers, understand them, keep them safe while they learn how to use their powers. Other ones are actively against the Nightlords, go against all of their evil machinations with force. Others are made up of ex-CIA, FBI, NSA, DEA people who were all fired. And they formed their little underground called the Spook Squad or whatever. And some Nightbanes have joined that. It's all, it's all very, very, factional. And just like World of Darkness, where you have clans and houses and tribes and stuff like that, not every faction gets along with every other faction. So you as a game master have to decide what factions you're going to allow your PCs to take. Because if they take a faction that is diametrically opposed, both philosophically and materially, against another faction, well, it's going to be instant, player character friction. And why would you start your game like that? That's stupid. Don't do that.
Battlelords of the 23rd century does.
Yeah, well, they do it wrong. So scroll down a little bit and you'll get to Nightbane factions.
Oh, I got it. I saw Nightbane and stopped.
I understand. All right. So we'll do a little backstory here. At first, the Nightbane were disorganized, traveling alone or in small groups, hiding from authorities and giving little thought to anything other than survival. Some of these independents are still out there, but they are the most vulnerable and short-lived, falling easy prey to the Nightlords and their minions. And we're going to talk about why when we get to minions part. Eventually, however, the newbies, or night babies, as they are sometimes known, run into... Yeah, it is derogatory, but, it's hazing.
It was just funny, like, somebody actually typed that on here. Like, I would start typing that and be like, ew, night babies.
It is a hazing type thing. Run into the larger groups of Nightbane. These groups, commonly called the factions, are loose organizations that operate on a regional, national, or even worldwide scale. The factions vary wildly in power, numbers, and goals. Some of them include humans, sorcerers, and even vampires and other supernatural beings in addition to Nightbane.
Got a question for you. Vampires are something that has been brought up a bunch of times.
And I'm going to go over them after the minions, just
then
to
I'll shut
touch
up.
on them, because they are not necessary to play this game. They are an add-on if you can fit them in. They are not necessary to play Nightbane. Not at all. All right. We're going to scroll down to the Resistance on the right side of the next page. Left side of the next page, sorry.
Yeah.
Right there, left side.
The Resistance.
A little higher, a little bit higher.
Oh, higher?
Just,
How much higher are we going?
Just a touch, a little bit.
This one?
Top of the page.
Oh,
there you go.
Could have said it's at the top. Okay.
I wanted that. The Resistance. All right. This is the largest Nightbane faction with members throughout the world and nearly every city in the United States. The goals of this group are simple: to organize Nightbane and oppose the Nightlords everywhere. This is the fighter group. This is the group most likely the majority of your player characters are going to be part of if you're using factions at all for PC characters, because you don't have to. You can use them as NPCs all you want. But they are a little more trained than your average Nightbane in combat, hit and run tactics, ambushes, setting traps, stuff like that. Sabotage, all that stuff. They're more trained in things like that because their job is to stop the Nightbane from taking over the world even more than they already have. And hopefully, fingers crossed, actually
Nightbane or Nightlords?
Yeah, push them back to their own world, the Nightlands.
You said to stop the Nightbane from taking.
Oh, I'm sorry. So stop the Nightlords. I'm sorry. You're right.
Okay.
That was a misspeak on my part. So rather than read all the stuff that I already read, we'll scroll down, and every single Resistance faction, if we look, has campaign and role-playing notes. At the bottom of the page, you'll see campaign and role-playing notes. These are, I'm not going to read them all, but I want you to know that each faction has their own thoughts and feelings about every other faction. And some of them don't get along. So like I said, as a game master, you have to decide what you want your players to be allowed to be into, which faction they are allowed to be. And it gives an example of how they think of the Nocturnes, the Seekers, the Warlords, whatever. We're not going to go over that. So we're just going to keep scrolling to page 19 in the Nocturnes. Left side.
There we go.
There we are. The Nocturnes seem to have existed before Dark Day, but nobody knows for how long. They are enemies of the Nightlords and are constantly attacking their servants and minions and disrupting their plans. Their membership includes not only Nightbane, but also human sorcerers, vampires, vampires, which are the crying vampires, and other supernatural beings, including some other denizens of the Nightlands, like, doppelgangers who have turned traitor against Nightlords. In fact, the Nocturnes have the highest number of vampires of all the known Nightbane factions. Okay, like I said, I'm going to touch on vampires, but it's going to be a light touch because you don't really need to use them in your game. But
nighttime is the right time.
Exactly. For a vampire, you're absolutely right. The big thing you have to know about the Nocturnes is they are like the Resistance, except they're not just Nightbanes. They're also human sorcerers, and maybe some ex-FBI, CIA guys also for training purposes, stuff like that. They're a multicultural group against the Nightlords, whereas the Resistance is all Nightbanes all the time, burn Nightlords down. That's what we do. Blood makes the grass grow. There you go. And vampires, okay, I'm going to get into the vampires later. But we're going to move down to the next page, the Underground Railroad. This is the oldest of the Nightbane factions.
This has got me working.
Yeah, basically this. Organization that exists. It has had many names over the centuries. The Underground Railroad was adopted during the 19th century, inspired by the network that helped escape slaves in pre-Civil War U.S. Like that organization, the Nightbane version offers protection and shelter to their kind while teaching them about their nature, talents, and how to survive and hide from humankind. Okay, here's the thing. You do not want your player characters to be an active part of the Railroad faction. Why? Because the Railroad faction does not fight. They don't fight anybody.
Peer roleplay group.
Then
why did you roll a monster character?
Exactly. Why'd you roll a monster that is physically more powerful than 90% of the things in the planet and not fight? I don't understand. But okay, whatever. Their whole job is to find newbies or night babies. I'm going to call them and say that a lot. Night babies.
I'm going to laugh every time.
Bring them into the railroad, get them to a safe spot to teach them how to use their powers. Teach them what it means to be a Nightbane, how to hide themselves, how to, scavenge if you have to, how to assimilate into society for short periods of time to get what you need and get out, keep moving on. Because once you do become a Nightbane, your aging either stops or greatly slows down.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't stay in the same place for long. So the Underground Railroad will teach you how to make a new identity, how to execute the move from one place to another, assuming this new identity, being seamless to the the authorities at large, especially the Nightlords. That's their job. That's their deal. Then we'll move on to the Warlords. They're going to be on page 21. Still on the left side, so you're good there. There you are. Now, the Warlords are the worst faction in this whole game. The Warlords, basically, they don't fight the Nightbane at all. They don't help people from the Nightbane. They just use their, I'm sorry, Nightlords. Ooh, I keep doing that. I'm sorry, I keep doing that. From the Nightlords, they don't care. The world can burn. They use their Nightbane powers for personal gain. Most of them are either former or current gang members. And once they woke up into their Nightbane powers, they decided to use that to increase their territory, power, and influence.
Hmm.
They only care about Nightlords and their minions when it affects their bottom line. And just like every gang, they're into all kinds of illicit things: drugs, prostitution, guns, whatever. You interfere with their money stream, and then the Warlords are going to come after you. But that's all they care about. They don't care about saving the world. Let it burn. At least I'll have a pile of cash to, cushion my fall when the world goes to crap. That's
Just as a reminder for folks, we have a video on it that describes the difference between Nightbane and Nightlords. But remember, Nightbane are the good people. Nightlords are the bad people. Using the word people
loosely. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit loose. Really loose. Okay. And then we scroll down to page 22. And we have the Seekers. There we go. Human cultures throughout the ages have been fascinated by magic and the occult. By the end of the 20th century, most people thought that magic was mere superstition and fantasy. Unknown to them, sorcerers and arcanists have been practicing the mystic arts in secret. The Seekers are an ancient organization of sorcerers who are becoming active in world affairs for the first time in centuries. Now, this is the first faction that is not mostly Nightbane. They're mostly human sorcerers and mystics. But anyone who can sling spells or has psionic powers can be a part of the Seekers, which means there are Nightbane RCCs. You can be a sorcerer Nightbane or a mystic Nightbane and be part of this faction. That's fine. But these are mostly humans that are guilty because they knew magic was real. They could prove it, but they kept it secret because they were afraid of what people would think. And then the Dark Day happened, and they're like, damn it, if we just told people this could happen, they might have had some kind of defense against it.
Y'all would have been burned at the stake as witches.
Exactly. That's exactly what would have happened. You're 100% right. But they feel guilty about it, so now they become much more active. Going against the Nightlords' plans, usually not by force, but more subterfuge, hitting it from angles, stopping their plans in some way that is innocuous but extremely effective, usually like that. So if you want a more guerrilla tactic, hit and run, in and out, being invisible type resistance cell, then the Seekers is your deal. Then we move on next page. This time it's on the right side. The Lightbringers.
Is this Earth Dawn?
This is not Earth Dawn.
Oh, okay.
And scroll down. The Lightbringers. They're named. That name comes from another RCC in this book that I do not recommend you use. I do not recommend its use. But if you make a story that is pivotal for it, then that's fine. They're called the Guardians. And I'm not going to go over their entire thing, their entire RCC. But since we're here, I'm going to talk about it right now. The Guardians are an RCC in this book that are small albino humans. I'm talking average of 5 feet, white hair, very, very pale skin, very, very pale blue, pale green eyes. and they have well, light powers. They can create, shields and blasts out of seemingly light energy, and they have supernatural strength. They have precognition. They seem to be immortal. Well, ageless, not immortal. You can kill them, but it's hard. But when they become guardians, they lose the memories of their past.
Oh.
They know they used to be human, but now they're not, and they don't remember anything about being human. So they have very little in the way of skills. They have very little in the way of knowledge of the world, because they lose literally all their memories, not just episodic
How does that
memories.
transformation happen? Is it willing?
It's unknown. It is unknown who or
So
what.
it isn't like you go in and say, you know what, take my memories away, I'm ready to do this?
Exactly. No, it's
Okay.
not like that. No one knows how it happens. Maybe there is a Palladium god somewhere that's doing it to try and help, because the Guardians' one ingrained purpose is to defeat the Nightlords. It's ingrained to them. Not just the Nightlords, all supernatural evil. So it's a pretty good theory that some god or supernatural being of good is creating guardians on the planet to fight the Nightlords and other supernatural evil that would destroy it. It's a good bet, but not proven. And the Lightbringers are any Nightbane or humans, whatever, anyone who rallies under one of these Guardians flags. Follow the Guardian's lead, because the Guardian, if this were like medieval times, they would be called angels. Okay, they would be easily mistaken for, King James Bible type angels, not like, Jewish angels, which are just horrendous monsters, but King James Bible angels, yeah. Okay, and then we go down to the next page. On the right side, we have the Spook Squad.
Ghost Facers.
No, the Spook Squad is a group where Nightbane and supernatural beings, including magicians, arcanists, and wizards, are in the distinct minority. In this case, the spooks refer to the members of special agencies like the CIA, NSA, Secret Service, and the PAB, the very secret Paranormal Activities Bureau. So much so that we haven't heard about it until just now. These spooks have been forced underground by the machinations of the Nightlords, who are now fighting against them. These former spies, law enforcement agents, and soldiers know that alien beings have taken over the US and pretty much other global governments. They know little about the Nightlands or exactly what the aliens are, which sometimes handicaps our efforts. Still, they are very well trained, equipped, experienced, and dedicated. So if you are a part of the Spook Squad, you can be, even as a Nightbane, and you are going to have a skill set that is more geared toward spy, sabotage, information retrieval, counterintelligence, stuff like that. You're going to have a skill set that is more toward that than based in just in your face combat. So again, this will help tailor your campaign. And then we move to the others, which is going to be on the left side of page 27.
Hold on, I gotta show this picture. There we
Show the
go.
picture.
There we go.
That's the Spook Squad, baby.
This just reminds me of this is so 80s Predator right here.
Yeah. Oh, well, on the right, that's Vasquez from Aliens.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Where are we going? Oh, the others. There we go.
There it is. Besides the Baal, which are the Nightlords, and the Nightbane, other supernatural creatures live on Earth and, like humans, have been affected by the invasion. The supernatural beings of the world are, if anything, at greater risk than normal humans, because the Nightlords make it a point to destroy or enslave them. The Baal don't want any competition, and such beings as vampires and sorcerers represent a threat that must be dealt with before humankind can be fully conquered. Okay, I don't recommend this, because the main, not the main, but many members of the others are vampires. And getting in bed with a vampire is basically asking to be murdered. It's stupid, especially as a human.
I'm a good vampire. I would never hurt a human.
No, you're not. I don't care. Actually, in this game, you cannot be more good than unprincipled or unscrupulous. The very, very bottom edge of good. whichever one is the very, very bottom edge of the good alignment. That's the best you could possibly be, because how sane can you be if you have to drink blood to live? Human blood. You can't even drink animal blood. You can't.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's good.
Human
I mean,
blood.
I actually like that as a limitation because I always felt that the animal blood was a cop out.
Yeah, exactly. You have, how good can you be if you have to do that? Not very. So I don't recommend this at all. At all. Keep it out of your game. All right. And let me see if we can find the skills. So I can show you the difference in skills, and it's not there. I'm gonna have to
Should we go through some chat?
Yeah, go ahead and go through some chat while I find it.
All right. So, all right, Darthic, going all the way back to the beginning here. Darthic says the vampires are just another faction wanting Earth for itself. So yeah, vampire intelligence would help against the Nightlords.
Yes. But then, even if you win, you have a vampire intelligence on your planet, which means you lose. You just lose.
That's a good question. Fat Gamer says, I'd love to see what the Resistance would do to Max's character that had a horror factor of 22.
The Resistance would take him in because he's also an amazing fighter. So much SDC. All he need was a decent strength score, and he would be a frontline tank. They could not pass him up. Could not.
So, Kokoshko, I'm not saying the last name. Warlords were an OCC for Nightbane too, or RCC. Is that?
No, the Warlords are a faction, and if you have a faction, it alters your skill base. It doesn't alter your RCC, because if you're Nightbane, that's a racial character class. You can't have an OCC on top of that.
The Guardians don't fit that well, I don't think.
No. They could fit, but it's more like pounding a square peg into a round hole. I mean, it can be done, but I don't recommend it.
Ravenslayer said he came to the channel, but he got a replay video. What the hell? Heathen Dog, the next time you gatekeep Ravenslayer, don't let him know.
Oh, okay.
We would never gatekeep Ravenslayer.
Shh.
Lightbringers are the antithesis of to the Nightlords. I mean, at least in the name.
They're nowhere near as strong. I mean, yeah, they're strong, but they're not Nightlord strong. They're not alien intelligence strong. So no.
Weird guy. So the Spook Squad has Mulder and Scully in there? Yes.
Yeah.
Also about the Spook Squad, Men in Black is a good reference.
Yeah, that would be a good one. That'd be a good one, because they're mostly humans that found out that aliens are real and they've taken over. So yeah.
And the last one that I clicked on was when you're talking about vampires and the alignments, he says that's Vampire. I don't know the difference between the two, so I would.
No. Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm going to touch on vampires at the end, and you can be a secondary vampire that has escape control from your master, and be up to unprincipled or unscrupulous, whichever one is the bottom of the good, and still be okay. But you still got to drink blood. So how okay can you be? Okay, now we're going to go to page 89. Basic Nightbane skill package. Okay, now this is what your basic Nightbane RCC. You're not part of a faction. You're just a Nightbane. These are the skills you get. Now, the reason you get these skills and you don't get to choose a lot of them is because usually when Nightbane transform for the first time, they're in late teens, early 20s. So you're going to have high school or a couple years of college education, and that's it. And then you have to basically be on the run. So you don't have time to go to trade school and learn some stuff. So this is what you get. Basic math, native language and literacy, computer operation, one domestic skill of choice, one electrical, mechanical, science, technical skill of choice, limited by prerequisites. Hand-to-hand combat must be selected as an other skill. Now remember, as a Nightbane, when you transform into your Morphous, your Nightbane form, you get hand-to-hand martial arts for free.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to have any kind of hand-to-hand combat, in your normal human form, your facade, then you have to buy it.
I get bullied every day by everybody on the street, but Nightbanes, what? Or Nightlords show up? Roar!
Exactly. Fucker, die in a hole. Like whatever. Fine. All right. And then you have RCC related skills. You get 10 other skills. Select plus 2 additional skills at level 2, 2 at 5, 1 at 8, and 1 at 12. All these new skills start at rank 1. They call it level 1, but Max likes to call it rank 1 because it's more, appropriate. And you get to choose any from this list only. But let's say you are in a faction. Just go to the right.
Yep. I thought you were reading below for some reason. You weren't.
Nope. Yep. Let's go to if you're in the Resistance or Spook Squad, Nightbane packet, Nightbane faction, then you would have these skills instead, because the Resistance and Spook Squad would teach you fighting tactics that they use. So let's check it out. Math, basic radio. You got radio now, native language, computer operation, pilot a vehicle of your choice, first aid, 1 weapon proficiency of choice. You get hand-to-hand basic. You can upgrade it using other skills to expert or martial arts,
which is pretty common for Palladium games.
Yes. And your related skills, you get 8 other skills instead of 10, and you get 2 additional at 3, 6, 1 at 9, and 12. And it can be any from here. Now, notice espionage is any, whereas before espionage was wilderness survival only. But these are all trained, spies. So
yeah, Spook Squad and
Spook Squad, they're trained spies. So you get any military skill at 5%, any espionage skill at 5%, any rogue skill, any weapon proficiency. You get all of that to choose right out of the gate, which is great. And then you get,
if you're going for a more combat oriented character. Yeah.
Oh, definitely more combat. And speaking of combat related, let's go to the Warlord, which is on the right side of that page. Warlord skill package. If you want to be a gangbanger loser, not caring, not only that the Nightlords are destroying the planet, taking it over, but that your fellow, at least maybe in your mind, former human friends are suffering because of it. Not only that, but you decide, you know what? I'm going to make the world a worse place by slinging drugs, hookers, and guns everywhere I can. If you want to play, if you're a DM and you want player characters to be like that, die in a hole.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, because you should be playing good guys. Warlords are not good guys. But let's say you're playing a warlord. This is what you get. Basic math, speak native language. Literacy is not given, must be selected as an other skill. Streetwise, prowl, picklocks, running, any 2 weapon proficiencies, hand-to-hand basic. And you get 6 related skills rather than 10 or 8. And they can be espionage, any except disguise, tracking, sniper, wilderness survival, mechanical, any first aid only for medical, any military, any physical, plus 5% any rolls when applicable. Pilot, automobile, motorcycle, truck, and motorboat only. They're you know what? I take exception to that because there's got to be someone to fly a plane to smuggle those drugs. There's got to be someone. Might as well be you, right? So I would allow pilot single engine aircraft. And then that is basically it for the Nightbane factions and how the choices affect your skills and how the choices affect your gameplay and why the Dungeon Master has to limit these to player characters. Limit these from player characters. Obviously, you don't want open to everything. And then we're going to go to page 185.
Let's knock out, since we're at the end.
This is out some comments on while we're doing it.
Just 2. I only have 2 in here. No, weird guy says the Palladium system combat tables. I think they need 6 tables: basic, expert, master, hand-to-hand, and then basic, expert, master, range combat bonuses. That fixes a lot. I actually disagree with that. I agreed with it at first, but then I like the way the ranged combat goes. Yeah. It's the hand-to-hand though. I think that each one should build on top of the other. Basic is everything except for special. Expert adds in a couple of special. Martial art adds in all the special. And then maybe the bonus, and then the bonuses for expert, where it'd be a +1 for basic, would be a +2 for expert, +3 for martial art, or something like that. I'm not saying, you don't want your martial artist to have a +12 where basic gets a +1. I mean, that, yeah. But at the same time, I think they could be simplified. I do agree with that. But the weapon proficiencies for ranged, I mean, they just work completely differently.
Yes.
It's all about aim shot.
Yeah, you don't get physical prowess bonuses.
Yeah.
You know, it's all just your weapon proficiency bonuses, and the greater rank you have, the more levels you've had the skill with, the greater bonus to hit you get. That's how it works.
And then the other thing that probably could be worked on at some point is people need to understand, myself included, need to remember that basic hand-to-hand, for example, is your hand-to-hand. It's not your melee weapon. So there needs to be a better... The combat chapters in like pretty much every Palladium book just need to be written a little more concisely, a little more accurately to identify this is hand-to-hand fighting, this is ancient weapon proficiency fighting, this is ranged weapon proficiency fighting, and then kind of go from there. But that's my 2 cents on that one. But I do agree that when I was going through these Palladium things, and Rift's hand-to-hand basic was different than Beyond the Supernatural hand-to-hand basic, which was different than After the Bomb hand-to-hand basic. Like some of those modifiers happen at different levels or different places. That was annoying. I would like a unified system, let's put it that way. And then the other comment I have is the pilots are contractors. Yeah, I could see that.
Oh, okay, very well. You know, but you know what? I want the thrill of not being shot down, right? Getting my product to the people. My product is going to kill children and, you know, disenfranchise youth, but I'm making money. So there you go.
Yeah, I know we talked about it a couple weeks ago where as we played, you know, Palladium, Heathen Dog read something one way, I read something another way, you know, a third person out there read it a complete third way, you know, it happens, absolutely happens. That's true.